Joined on Sportsvibe TV by former Spurs and England winger Chris Waddle. Chris, thanks for talking to us. Just a word on your former club Spurs. How impressed have you been with the start to their season?
Very impressed. I think young side. You had to get rid of a few players. Obviously, like Soldado, obviously didn't cut it for Spurs. But overall, I think he's building a good side. I think he could do with another striker to back up Harry Kane. But I think the form and the squad size now is very healthy, all a good age. So I think the future is looking good. I think there's no reason this season they can't push on to try and get in that top four. I think it's quite an open league. You know, they dominate a lot of football matches. Unfortunately, not converting the chances yet, but that'll change. You can see Tottenham going on a good run, and once they get the momentum going, there's no reason, as I said, they can't be a top four side.
Well, given the young side, what would you say would constitute a successful season this season for Spurs?
I think if you were a Spurs fan, you'd like to see them in that top four, top five, six, breathing down the necks of the four if you're not in it, running them close. Obviously, the cup's important, and I think, to be fair with Pochettino, he's taken the Europa League quite serious. He's put strong sides out in all the games he's played. I think he believes it's something worth winning. You know, there's a place at the Champions League for it, so there's another way of getting in. So I think he's looked at that and thought, why not? And as I said, he's got a big squad. People forget Tottenham's squad. For all he's got a lot of youngsters in the squad, he's got some very talented players who just can't get in the side. So when he's going into all these games in the Europa League and Premier League, he can put a strong side out.
Yeah, obviously touched on the Capital One Cup, obviously lost out to Arsenal. Were you surprised that he put out a weakened side given the opposition?
Yeah, I was. I thought, against your rivals, it's bragging rights for when you're at work the next day or school for the kids. So nobody likes to lose against your rivals. So I was quite surprised he put a weakened side out for that night. But there must be a plan or why, whether he's taken the Europa League very serious, and obviously the Premier League is so important to them. So whether he's looking at that, and he's probably thinking, there's a lot of things to win out there. But I'm a great believer that the Capital One Cup's a great cup to win. I think it gives you confidence. It's a great deal for the fans. Listen, teams who normally win it are big clubs. And it's another trophy in the cabinet, and you can't get enough of putting trophies in the cabinet. So I was surprised.
Yeah, well, FA Cup runner-up with Spurs yourself. Do you think teams like Tottenham, just in and around that top four, Tottenham, Everton, Liverpool, do you think they place too much importance on the Premier League?
I actually believe that maybe a few years ago, yeah. But I actually think now that there is places up for grabs in that top four. Manchester City on the day is probably, I've got to say, probably the best side. Chelsea have had a bad start. Arsenal are playing well at the minute. You can't say they're not, but they are beatable. You know that. Manchester United are beatable. So there is places in that top four where you can get in that group, and I can see why some teams take it a lot serious. But Liverpool probably think the same. They're thinking, how far are we short here of being a top four club? And maybe one player, maybe two players, or getting everybody fit and with confidence. So for me, Tottenham are not far off.
Well, we've touched on the new additions, the likes of Heung-min Son and Clinton NG. How do you think they've fared so far?
Good. They've come in into a side which, listen, I think Tottenham's played well all season. They haven't converted the chances they've created properly. I know you've got to think they beat Man City 4, and there's not many teams going to do that at Man City. So it is there. And if you look at most of the games, they've dominated possession. They've created a lot of chances. Against Liverpool last week, they should have won the game. They had enough chances. All right, first 20 minutes, Liverpool were very good. But apart from that, Tottenham, after that, dominated the game, had the chances, whether it was a good save or a bad miss, whatever you want to look at it. There's not many teams got the better of Tottenham this season, and it's just about converting them chances.
Well, as we say, Soldado and Adebayor both left in the summer. We didn't bring in a replacement striker for either of them. Do you think that's piled more pressure on the shoulders of Harry Kane, and he's surprised that he's struggled for goals this season?
I don't think he's struggled for goals as such. I don't think that's a surprise. I think last season, let's be honest, everything he hit went in. And I think is it 12 or 11 goals or 13 goals went through defenders' legs. This year they're not going through the defenders' legs, they're hitting the defender and going away, or the goalkeeper saving them. So the one thing about Harry Kane is, though, he doesn't hide. He's still there, he's still leading the lane, still wants to shoot, still tries to score. He's not sort of got out of the way and thought, I can't score anymore. He's actually still determined to score goals, and he will, it'll turn for him. But to do what he did last season is a massive achievement this season. So, but it needs more players in the team to chip in. It's not all about Harry Kane thinking, well, if Harry doesn't score, how are we going to win a football match? You do need other players to start chipping in.
Well, he scored a couple for England this season. How would you say the pressure differs turning out for your country or just representing your club?
I think for Harry, he's always going to get a bit of pressure because he came on the scene last year, and people forget he didn't get in the team in November. When he got to say from November at the end of the season, well, probably the last 3-4 games he looked tired. But realistically, he had an unbelievable season. So this season, everybody thought, right, can you get 30-odd goals? Can you do this? Can you do that? His goals in games for England is fantastic. All right, so be it, not the best group England were in. It was a comfortable group for them. We knew they'd qualify. But he's got a lot to look forward to. He's got the Euros where he'd be coming up against the top opposition, the top teams in Europe. So the next three friendlies are great. France, Spain, Germany, all good opposition. And you can see how if he gets the run out and he gets the game, see how he cuts it against teams like that.
Yeah, obviously you played in Marseille for a few years yourself. How would you say playing abroad benefited you as a player? And do you think the national team could benefit from maybe a few players playing outside the Premier League?
I'd love to see more of them going abroad. It's hard now to get them abroad because obviously the Premier League's the richest league in the world, so they're getting well looked after here. And why do they want to go and play abroad if they've got everything they want here? So purely for football, especially when they're around that 18, 19, 20, I would send them abroad. If you're going to loan them out, go and send them abroad for 2 years and whatever, and they'd learn so much about the game. Football abroad is very different. Listen, they know you play a different type of style, it's more tactical, it makes you aware more about the game, you learn more about the game, you learn about the appreciation of looking after the football more, way of life, the culture's different, opens your eyes up to a lot of things. And personally, I'd love to see a lot of these players, when instead of, no disrespect to clubs, but going to League 1 or League 2, I don't think they learned a great deal down there. I think they'd learn more by going into the French top league, the Belgian top league. If you get to Spain, Germany, fantastic. But these are the sort of leagues you need to get in and have a good year there. And listen, at first you'll find it, you think, this is not for me, I'm homesick, can't speak the language, this is different, they don't eat this, they don't do that. But once you get you buy into it, once you get that side of it, they love it. And the football is completely different. And people say no, it's not, it is.
Well, and finally, we've touched on England. Young Spurs lad Dele Alli got a call up to the squad. Do you think there was a danger that his call up was too soon? And do you think players need to represent the under-21s for longer before they make the move to the senior?
Personally, I think Roy Hodgson hasn't got a lot to pick from. I think he's got about 30 players, let's be honest, 33, 34 players. When I played, we had about 70, 80 to pick from more. So the game's changed. We haven't got the talent we had. We're not producing like we used to. We're importing a lot, and so if anybody shines at the minute. Years ago Harry Kane wouldn't have got in. Mason's been in the England squad. He would never have got in. So Dele Alli's been put in because he's had a few good games for Tottenham. But you tell me where the talent is in English football. There's not a lot. So anybody who shines and plays quite well will have a very good opportunity to get straight into the England setup. So whether he's bypassing, listen, eventually he probably will drop down back to the 21s, which will not do him any harm. But I always say it's a shortage of talent. That's why these players are getting pushed into the full squad very early.
That's what I mean. Thanks for talking to us, Chris. Cheers.